We often have this picture-perfect idea of what religious observance is supposed to look like. But what does it look like behind closed doors? Well, it turns out a super popular comedy sketch from Bangladesh gives us this hilarious and surprisingly deep look into the chaotic, messy, and very, very human reality of practicing Ramadan in the modern world.
Okay, let's just dive right into this. On one hand, you have the ideal of Ramadan, right? A time for serene reflection, prayer, self-discipline. And then, on the other hand, you have a guy yelling at his roommate for passing gas and, I quote, desecrating the fast. It's this exact clash between the spiritual goal and the hilarious, messy reality that we're going to unpack today.
Because really, the most interesting stuff is always found in that gap, isn't it? The gap between who we're trying to be and who we actually are day to day, especially during a month as intense as Ramadan. And this sketch just nails that tension perfectly.
So, at the heart of this whole thing is a group of bachelors living together. Their attempt to prepare iftar, that's the evening meal to break the fast, is less of a sacred ritual and more of a, well, it's a masterclass in absolute dysfunction.
Now check this out, because this is where it gets really funny. This is how their day breaks down. Forget quiet contemplation. A huge chunk of their fasting hours, just sleeping in. Then you've got another big slice dedicated to complaining and another one for just arguing over who has to do any work. And that tiny little sliver left over, yeah, that's for actually preparing the food. Peaceful reflection is not really on the agenda.
And this is basically their whole process. It's a simple 4-step cycle. You wake up late, you argue about who has to cook, you blame the fast for being tired and lazy, and then you have a frantic, last-minute rush to throw something together right before the call to prayer. Every single day. And of course, nobody wants to take any responsibility. The fast itself becomes the go-to excuse for literally everything. I'm too weak. The day is so long. My favorite is, it takes an hour to cut 1 tomato when you're fasting. It's just a constant game of passing the buck. And the arguments, they get heated. Comically heated. At one point, one guy gets so fed up with how long the salad is taking that he threatens to literally deep fry his friend in hot oil. I mean, it's absurd, it's completely over the top, and it perfectly captures that hungry, hangry tension. But just when the chaos hits its absolute peak, something really wonderful happens. A friend, Nabila, shows up at the door with a full iftar meal that her mom sent over. It's this incredible moment of grace that just reminds you, even in their little bubble of dysfunction, they're still part of this bigger community that's looking out for them. But it's not all just about the chaos in the kitchen. The sketch also gets into how these ancient, sacred traditions are colliding with our modern digital lives. And that, as you can imagine, creates a whole new set of problems. So our first dilemma plays out completely over the phone, and it tackles this very modern question of what's considered appropriate to post on social media during a holy month. It kicks off with one of the guys giving his female friends some, let's call it unsolicited advice. He kind of suggests that, hey, since it's Ramadan, maybe she should think about posting fewer photos, especially pictures where she's wearing sleeveless tops. And her response is just perfect. She is having none of it. She pushes right back, defending her freedom and telling him straight up, I don't need you telling me what to do. It's this brilliant little snapshot of the tension between traditional expectations and a young woman's sense of autonomy. Okay, next up is a conflict that is so classic, it's almost universal. That pull between family duty and your own personal ambitions, especially around the holidays. So one of the guys calls his dad and explains very practically that he can't make it home for the big Eid celebration. And his reason is totally responsible. He's got huge exams right after the holiday, and he really needs that time to study. And his dad's reaction is anything but practical. He immediately jumps to the most dramatic conclusion possible. What? Did you get secretly married? Is that why you won't come home? It just goes to show you the immense cultural pressure to be with family for Eid, no matter what. Logic doesn't always apply. And for our final dilemma, the sketch turns the camera back on the group itself. It explores the hypocrisy that can pop up, even among friends, when they start to suspect one of their own is secretly breaking his fast. So the friends basically turn into detectives, and they start gathering clues. First, they ask the suspect to taste the sherbet to see if it's sweet enough. He makes a big show of refusing. Oh, I can't, I'm fasting. But then they notice his lips are a little too moist.
not dry like someone who's been fasting all day. He denies everything, of course, but the jig is up when they get a video showing him chowing down at a hotel. Busted.
So after all this bickering, this hypocrisy, and all this comedy, what does it actually tell us? What does it say about faith here in the 21st century?
Well, what the sketch really seems to be saying is that modern piety, it's not about being perfect. It's messy, it's full of contradictions, it's got arguments and digital distractions, and people not always being their best selves. But maybe, just maybe, the most important part is that they are going through all of it together.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? Their bond, their community, it's not built on being perfect religious observers. It's forged in the shared, imperfect, and honestly pretty hilarious struggle of just trying to get through the day. They fight, they call each other out, they make up, but at the end of the day, they break their fast together. And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. In a world that's fundamentally imperfect, where we're all flawed, what does it truly mean to be faithful? Maybe it's not about achieving some kind of spiritual perfection. Maybe it's just about showing up day after day and navigating the mess with the people you care about.